Welcome to the Business Growth Spotlight, where we shine the light and talk with business leaders from all over the world who are here sharing their expertise and wisdom so we can all grow together. I'm your host, Heidi Schalk, co-founder of HLH Growth Solutions, where we help businesses scale their revenue through using outside-the-box visibility strategies. If you're new to listening to the podcast, welcome. We're glad you're here with us today. And please stay to the end because we have a special gift just for you. But I'm excited to chat with my guest today. We're going to have some fun. She's a fellow Floridian now. So she's in North Florida, where I live in South Florida. And I don't get to talk to a lot of people in Florida. So I'm really excited about our conversation. Without further ado, welcome Kylen Ribeiro with DefenderShield to the podcast. So glad to have you.
Thank you, Heidi. I'm really excited to be here today.
I'm excited to chat and dive in. So Kylen, can you share with us a little bit about yourself, about DefenderShield and your role within the company?
Yes, I am the current CEO of DefenderShield, and I've been with the company for about 8 years now. And it's been a very rewarding process because when I joined the company, I was one of the first employees, and I've seen us grow a lot over the years, and it's just very exciting to see where we are versus where we came from, and also to have a company that helps people. And I know we're going to get into that a little bit later.
Yeah, so so you were basically with them as a startup, which is exciting.
So it was founded by a father and son, Daniel and Ryan DeBon, and they essentially were working on our product. So I'll just get into what we do, I guess, now. Have you ever thought about your cell phone potentially emitting signals or radiation? Well, that radiation is called electromagnetic field radiation, EMFs for short. And Daniel DeBon was a telecom engineer for 30 years, and he dealt with the communications between electronics, but for interference. So he did not think of it necessarily like a health impact. However, one Christmas, his sons were visiting his wife and him during Christmas break, and they were working from their laptops. And his wife said, I want grandkids one day, like get those laptops off your lap. And he had been in this industry for so long that he just thought, well, there's no problems. There's nothing wrong with them having their laptops on their lap. But then a little inkling started, and he thought, well, maybe let me just do a little research and see if there's something I could buy for them to put under their laptops. And turns out there was nothing on the market and this was 15 years ago, there was nothing on the market that blocked the full range of frequencies that come out of something like a lap. So he built it with his engineering prowess, and that was the first product. It was called the Defender Pad, and we still sell that product, though it's gone through iterations and improvements over the years. And so DefenderShield was started, and Ryan and him, they worked on the company for a few years until they were ready to hire, and I was one of the first people to join. And I had met Ryan at a yoga teacher training program. So it's interesting how life works, but it's been a very exciting and rewarding experience.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for the whole background of it, because I love hearing the journey and the story behind the business and the company. And many times something starts up, or we have this, we get our creative juices flowing from something that we have going on in our own lives, or that somebody sparks. So I love that you shared that. And it's in how you got involved as well. So DefenderShield is a leader, as you were saying, in the digital wellness and EMF protection space. Who is your target market? How do you define your target market? And how have you evolved your value proposition over time? Like you've said, you've been in business, you've been with them for 8 years, and you've seen the evolution.
Yes. So one thing that's always made us very successful is we know our niche and we hone in on it and who those people are. I mean, we have small little subsets of people, but people that are interested in health and wellness. But then beyond that, it's people who sort of take it to the next level. It's not necessarily just people who work out and eat well. It's people that are trying to make their environments have less toxins, and they're trying to eat very clean, and they're trying to have their environments and their families' environments be as clean as possible. And that includes electromagnetic radiation. So these signals emit from every single device that we have. And nowadays, those are a lot of devices in our homes potentially. So it's people that are interested in creating the cleanest environment for themselves and their families. It's mothers, it's fathers, it's for children, because the next generation, it's super important that we instill this knowledge within our children to be able to use technology safely and sort of the impacts that it can have on us long term, especially kids, because obviously they're inundated with it a lot more than we were growing up. So yeah, there's a subset of people called biohackers, which you may or may not have heard that term, but it's people who are looking to increase their lifespan. They're always looking into new like modalities and in recovery and fitness, and they're sort of like on the cutting edge. So those are a lot of our customers. So yeah, it's really, we've defined our niche and that's who we market to. Now, how we have like sort of adapted and kept up with the ever changing technology is we have improved our shielding. So what makes us different than anybody else out there is our shielding, because that's what we incorporate into all of our products. And our specific shielding currently blocks up to 300 gigahertz, which is far beyond what anyone else on the market can do. And just to give you a little bit of an idea, 5G can go into those higher gigahertz levels. And so that's why it's important that we continue to adapt and develop better and better shielding to block these higher frequencies that are in our environments.
While you were just talking, I was just thinking, I have children, they're teenagers now. And I was reading your bio. I know you're a mom as well. So we'll get into all of that. But how are you getting the awareness out there about the dangers of EMF? Because just speaking from personal experience, I've known of it, but it's not something that I'm seeing frequently out there. So I'm not as aware. Like I know of it and I know that there's things I should be doing, but how are you increasing that awareness so people are actually taking action and realizing like, wow, we really need to incorporate this into our lifestyle of becoming really, really healthy, especially for, like you said, the next generation and our children, because they're always on the phone. My kids are, always on the computer. They're always on the phone. And this is just the way they've grown up, and it's not going to get, the future generations are not going to be using these devices less. If not, they might be even using them more.
Absolutely. So one thing that sets us apart is from the beginning, we have provided so many resources and research and education around this topic. So our website is, hundreds of articles that we have put out, not articles, but we use research to support the articles. And we just want to educate people and we want to bring awareness to the topic. So in all of our marketing, we educate. We're not product first, we're education first. And, doing things like podcasts and partnering with, content creators and influencers or whatever you want to call them to, that are also passionate about educating their audiences. That's what we have found to be most successful. And then if people choose to buy our products as part of the solution to improve their digital wellness, then that's great. But there are other things that we recommend to do, not only buy our products. So we use like 3 principles, and Daniel and Ryan did write a book called Radiation Nation. So that is another educational tool that we have in our toolbox. But the time we spend on devices, the distance we are away from our devices, and shielding, those are kind of the 3 pillars that we preach. If anyone listening right now, whatever environment you're in, whether it's your car or your office, just look around and sort of take stock of how many devices are in the room with you. So there might be a laptop. There's probably definitely a phone. There might be a Wi-Fi router. There might even be a sort of Alexa, or I don't know what the Google one's called, but the Google Home. There might be a wireless security camera. Like all of these things emit signals, and it's not the one bee in the room that's going to kill you. It's the 1,000 bees. So the less sources that we can have around us, the better it is, especially in our bedrooms, because that's where we spend, hopefully, if we're lucky, 8 hours a night while our bodies are supposed to be recovering. But if we keep things around us while we're sleeping, that definitely interferes with our body processes. And there are lots and lots of health impacts that have been studied. They're not very mainstream, but if you start looking, our website is a great, resource to start your research, but you'll find that there are thousands of studies that have been done that aren't really being promoted publicly necessarily, but that show negative health impacts ranging from, mental impacts, brain fog, migraines, to physical impacts like skin tingling and fertility impacts. So there are a wide range of health impacts that have been studied. And we know that children are more vulnerable to these signals because their bodies are made more of water, which conducts the signals more easily inside their bodies. Plus, because they're growing and their cells are multiplying at a quicker rate, if there has been DNA damage done, that can show up later in life, as something serious. And we try not to fear monger, because we don't want to say like, all this stuff's going to give you cancer. But we just try to say, if there are health impacts, let's try to moderate our usage. Let's try to protect ourselves as best we can, because we know we can't completely get away from it in this day and age, but we can reduce our exposure, and better is better. So even if we're not in a completely tech-free environment, at least try to spend less time on our devices, take out some of the sources, or get your body away from those places in your home that are heavily, have all the devices that you have there maybe. And then shielding, shielding does block up to 99% of these signals. So that is how we sort of educate, and we try to simplify it for people, because when you hear about it for the first time, it can feel very scary and overwhelming. And we get a lot of calls from people to our customer service who are wonderful. They try to just settle people and say like, okay, what is your current lifestyle? What devices are you using? Like, how can you have better digital wellness? And sort of coach them through this like new, like sometimes scary-ish kind of topic.
Yeah, as you were speaking, I was just thinking about my kids. Again, I have two teenagers. One's going to be 15 this month, and the other one's 16. And there's times I'll wake her up in the morning, and her laptop is in her bed. Like she'll have it open. So she's like, I like the light, and I'm like, I really don't want your laptop in your bed. Let's keep the devices.
That's her new nightlight.
Yeah, that's her new nightlight. So I'm like, starting this evening, I'm going to be setting this rule that there's no devices in the bed anymore, especially after talking with you. This is such a great reminder. As parents, we stay on top of them about things, but then we get lax certain times, especially if we're tired and we're run down. And then all of a sudden, we forget that, okay, we put these things in place, and these devices do have some dangers associated. And you brought up a really great point. Their cells are generating so fast. And especially not all ages, but teenagers they need their sleep. They need that, they're always tired. And because they're growing, their brains are developing, and there's so much they're moving through as teenagers that they really need that 8 hours. That 9 hours for them is super, super important. So we need, as parents, to remember to like make sure that we're reminding them, let's take some time out of these devices and go have some fun and do some other things, and not have them in the bed. I want to switch gears a little bit to you as a CEO, especially as a female CEO, Kylen. You're in a technology wellness company. And so what leadership practices have you found most effective in driving both innovation as well as team culture?
I have been in a leadership role since I graduated with my MBA, which was many years ago at this point. I was lucky enough to get a job with one of the largest international grocery retailers in the world. And I went through a very rigorous management training program with them. And so I learned very early on how to be a good manager, how to have empathy, and how to support people and make sure they have what they need to do their jobs properly. That was before I had kids. Once you have kids, you are definitely more empathetic as a manager, I believe. And even though I tried my best back then, I know that it's impossible to know what, most people, that are going to work for you have children, the struggles that come along with that. And just like I put my children first, before this job and before everything else. And I support my employees to do the same. If they need anything, if they need to take time off, I try to treat them how I would want to be treated. And it's just really as simple as that. We are a small team, so everyone has a very specific role. Some people have multiple roles. And we've just found that we've actually had a bigger team at points, even almost double the size that we are now, as people, things evolve in the business, and we've had some natural attrition, people moving out of state, people leaving because they have, wanted to start families and things like that. And we've sort of evolved over the years to a very efficient operation. So my management style is just, I'm definitely not a micromanager. And I think also as a parent, you think like, I have my own children and I don't need to, treat my employees like children. And if whoever you hire, you should be able to trust that they can do the job you hired them for without, micromanagement. That is sort of the goal every time we, bring a new person on board. And we're very upfront about that from the beginning. It's a very, we're laid back, but we expect people to get the job done sort of independently. And we do have a lot of collaboration as well in between the teams. So we are in person most days of the week, which I think is really important for especially a small business, just to like build the relationships between people, build the camaraderie between teams, and just communication wise. I'm sure a lot of people work fully remotely or mostly remotely. And it is all those extra emails and chats you have to have them, that is the communication, but I do enjoy having like the in-person communication as well. I think it just helps everyone get on the same page with more ease.
So how does your team function? Are you hybrid where you're partially remote and partially in person? Are you fully in person? How does your team now? How are you navigating?
Yeah. We do 1 day remote. So we are 4 days in the office, but we also give a lot of flexibility. So we have like a certain bank of like remote days that people can use as needed. So, and then we try to, as we didn't used to have any remote days. And then a couple of years ago, we were like, hey, this would be a really great benefit. And we felt like, at the time that was a good choice, and it's been very successful for us. Like, we don't think anything has been lost because of that, but it is a balance. You don't want to have too much time apart, because then again, with the communication, for me, like what I've noticed is it just is a lot more emails and chats. And, if you want to talk to more than one person about something, talking to one person back and forth on a chat or an email is fine. But then when you're wanting to talk to more than one person, then it just becomes like, emails back and forth, and it prolongs the communication process, I think. And we may even do more hybrid one day, or an additional day remote or something like that. But that's where we're at now. And, who knows what the future holds, but that's what's been successful for us.
Yeah, I've heard that works for a lot of companies. It's 4 days in and then one remote, and adding that flexibility. And I really like that you brought up the micromanagement piece, micromanaging, and that you really want to give your team leadership roles, basically, as they're the leaders in their space. So you hired them for a reason, and you're giving them that space to do what they do best. And we need to trust our employees and our team members that they can handle what they've been brought on to do. And having that communication, open communication with them.
In a small company, it's pretty apparent when someone is not doing their job. It's not like they can hide in a big corporation where there's like 50 people doing the same job. It's very like, it's transparency really becomes very easy when it's like, you own this, you're the only one doing it. So we like to give people ownership over their roles, because we don't have too many people doing the same thing. So it's like they have to own that completely and take have accountability, and just feel like they are like the one person that we need, we have doing that in our company, and like take pride in that.
Yeah. I'd love to switch a little bit to marketing and how, because we talked about who your ICP is, your ideal client profile, and you're very clear on who that is. It's it's the people that are really creating a full lifestyle of healthy living in all different areas of their life and for themselves and their families. So how are you? I'm sure you have competitors out there that do things similar, and you stand out from the crowd because you really have like created this shield to really protect people from EMF. How are you getting out there? I know you've mentioned a couple at the beginning, podcasts being one of them. So you're here today and some other things, but what are the things that you're doing marketing wise that to be, you're giving education, you have your articles and the book. And I want to talk a little bit more about the book so our listeners know where they can go grab it. But what else are you doing if there's anything and with what's working? But on the flip side of the coin, maybe some things that you've done that just weren't working. So you discontinued that and you're focusing more on other things.
So we do a lot of the traditional digital ad marketing channels. We have PPC ads. We sell on Amazon, which is a very interesting scenario there because our types of products actually have been banned from advertising. A lot of, over the years, a lot of knockoff brands have come along or cheaper brands that make claims that may or may not be true. And I think they just grouped all of the companies that do this into that bucket. So that's been very interesting because we have ads running on and off. We can't rely on that. So our organic everything is what's best and most important for our business. We've been building our website and the content on it for 15 years, like I said. So that comes into play full circle now, especially with the AI tools people are using, aside from just Googling something. So we have the content, it exists on our website. We put a lot of time, energy, and focus into our website and maintaining that and growing that and always constantly improving that and adding more. So we do partner. We have something also unique about us is we have a medical and science advisory board with medical professionals in their respective fields that support and believe in our products and company. And they use them in their own clinics with their own patients. And that's something that definitely sets us apart. So we have a lot of connections in the medical world, in the clinician world and universe, because what we're trying to do is we are actually trying to educate at the clinician level so that they can help their patients who may be affected by all of our technology, but not know that that's what is wrong with them, or that could be improving their quality of life. So we're really trying to get to the medical community as well as just the general consumer. And we do that we have a lot of partnerships. We do network. We do go to conferences and trade shows, and that's really nice to get. We used to do a lot more of those. Over the years, those have sort of been replaced with spending more online marketing. But why they are valuable is we're boots on the ground, seeing the average consumer, what they know about this problem and what if they've heard of us or if they're using another brand. There are a lot of they're called like stickers or harmonizers that have recently exploded onto the market, and they claim to block EMFs. But we say, if you don't understand how this is working, we just encourage you to buy products that you completely can understand what is happening and how it's working. And what we know of it is that you need a physical shield to completely block the radiation. You can't block it. You could potentially reduce the radiation by using some of these technologies, but we really try to just stay in our lane. This is what we do, and this is what we're experts in. And a lot of stuff has come along and taken people's attention towards it. It's actually good because when you meet people in person, they're like, "Oh, I have this sticker on my phone." You're like, "Oh, can you tell me how that works?" And they're like, "Oh, I just stick it on my phone and it's like I'm protected." And it's like, no, like that's not, if you're talking with your phone against your head, that sticker is not going to protect your brain. It might sort of reduce some things, but it's definitely not working 100%. So these are the kind of things that we have to deal with nowadays. And it's been a journey because these things didn't exist 15 years ago. But
Right.
on the flip side, it brings more awareness to the industry in general, which is a good thing for us.
So what's next for Defender Shield, Kylen? And for the next, say, 12 months, what are the big goals? And you just mentioned like, getting out into the more clinic, reaching more clinicians. But beyond that, what are some of the goals that you have for you guys?
We just want to continue to grow our revenue, to grow our footprint online, to continue partnering with more and more people who care. We really are genuine people, and we really like our products. It feels good because they actually help people, and they help people live a healthier lifestyle. There are some people, and we didn't get into this, but there's a condition called electromagnetic hypersensitivity syndrome. And this is a condition that is recognized in the medical community, not in our country necessarily, but in places like Europe. But we're bringing more awareness to that because people that don't feel well and they can't really get to the root cause of why they are suffering with these symptoms that, again, can range from so many different things. And that's why it's so hard to pinpoint this. But these clinicians and these medical professionals, if they have the knowledge of, okay, you're feeling this, like, what does your, bedroom look like? It's a starting point for conversations with people to help them maybe gain awareness that, oh, maybe like it is my bedroom that is causing me to have migraines or not be able to sleep. We didn't get into blue light at all, but blue light is a form of electromagnetic radiation. It's on the spectrum. And that, like you mentioned, your daughter's laptop, like the light after the sun goes down, our bodies naturally tell us, okay, it's time to go to bed. But all of these artificial lights surrounding us all the time now, from our phone, our laptop, our TV, that's telling our brain to not go to sleep. And so we have a simple blue light glasses, that's a simple solution to that. But especially within the hour or two before bed, not looking at a screen is definitely ideal. And I know that that is very difficult to do. And it's even more difficult when you have teenagers. I don't yet have teenagers. My kids are 9 and 4, but I know it's going to become a very tough problem, I just know it's coming just based on all the people I've talked to and all the moms and everything. So it's hard to set boundaries, but really it's kids don't know what's best for them. They think they do, but it is our job. And I know it's exhausting to hold ourselves accountable to this stuff, but it is very important to teach them like now about like why we shouldn't be sleeping with our phone under our pillow and why you shouldn't be staring at your laptop right before you try to go to sleep, because it's going to be harder for you to go to sleep. We actually wrote a children's book as well, and that was written by me and my COO, Michelle Zofria, because Radiation Nation is the book that Ryan and Dan DeBon wrote, but we felt like we need to teach kids about this. It's a children's book that makes it's a hard concept to understand because it's not something you can see, smell, taste, hear. It's in our environments. And so we kind of compare it to like germs, for kids, so they can sort of like understand. It's like, okay, germs can make you sick, but you can't see the germs. And so it's like there's stuff emitting out of your tablet and your phone and your laptop and your, all of these things that can impact our bodies. So we tried to write a children's book that could be read by parents and children just to like understand and have a starting point for these conversations.
What's the name of the children's book, and where can we find? Go ahead.
Yeah, both books are available on Amazon and on our website. The book, the original book is called Radiation Nation, and the children's book is called Henry's Tech-Free Trip.
I love it. We'll have to read all about Henry. So for those of you parents that are listening, go grab that for your children, and also grab Radiation Nation for you, because it's you need to have that as well. I have a question for you. Is before I get to that one, if I could give you a magic wand through this screen and you can wave it over one challenge that you're having right now that you can go poof and make disappear that could possibly hold you back from the goals that you shared, what would that be and why?
That is a good question. The challenge would be that this topic in general it's controversial, and I wish that I could take away the controversy from it, because if you really look at the science, it shouldn't be controversial. And the other flip side of the coin is we know that the telecom space is so much bigger than any one company could ever hope to be or imagine to be. And it is a fact that the telecom industry is trying to, 5G is rolling out. We can't stop that. And I just wish that my magic wand what would happen is the corporations and the government would take a step back and be like, do we really need all this stuff? Like, I understand, like, we want to continue to advance technology, but like, what are the impacts? We're not putting people or health first whatsoever here. We're putting profits, of course, and, faster technology and more and more and more and more and more. And that, that's what I would do with my magic wand, is just have it sort of be something that is publicly discussed, that like, hey, there are health impacts, and how can we make our world a safer place for the future generations? So you can only wish.
Yeah, I truly believe that there's going to be a reset at some point, and there's going to need to be a little bit of a step back, or an awareness, or just what's the word I'm looking for, like an aha, that what, we do need to kind of slow this down. And unfortunately, I don't think it's going to come until the next generation, or even maybe the generation after that, once they really get the full picture of what the effects of all of this is. Then that's where I'm hoping that there'll be a little bit of a reset. Don't know what that looks like, but that's what I'm thinking is probably going to happen.
We compare this a lot to smoking. So people smoked, 30 years went by, and only then were the health effects of smoking kind of in the public sphere. Before that, it was swept under the rug. But I think it got to the point where it couldn't be ignored anymore. And we liken that potential situation to happen with a technology that we have today, because it's only been about 20 years since cell phones came out, and then the smartphone, that's only been about 10 or 15 years. So we really don't know the long-term health effects, and time will tell. But what we just say is use the precautionary principle. If you think something might be a potential health risk, then maybe we should take easy steps. You don't even have to spend any money to put your cell phone way over here, or take it out of your bedroom while you're sleeping. Like, these things don't cost money, but they do make a big, big difference.
Yeah. And I like you said controversy. That kind of surprises me, because for me, it's like common sense. It makes sense that the waves, whatever radiation we're getting from the computers, if that's the right word, I don't know all the tech behind it, but it makes sense that there's things that we're taking into our bodies from all of these devices that we're using. So I have two more questions for you. One is for someone just getting started with, real learning about this and going, yes, I do believe that there are, EMF that I'm getting that's coming into my body, and I want to work on taking steps to block this. Where would you, without overwhelm, where would you say somebody should start? Like, what's the first product, or is there a first product, or is it customized depending on the person?
So it is customized depending on your lifestyle. But for example, I would say 99% of us, it's the cell phone that's with us all the time. And so a cell phone case is a great place to start. I've got mine right here. And the way that it works, it is a wallet case, and we have our shielding in the front side. So when you're talking on the phone, put it up to your head with the case closed. Many people don't talk on the phone like that anymore, which is great. So we have earbuds. These are actually our air tube headphones. And I know that AirPods are extremely convenient, and you're like wireless, and it's just like great. But maybe we should think about the signals going through our brains with those. And that is actually, I think over the past couple of years, that might be the top thing that people I see out there using and doing the majority of the day. And so, yeah, these are actually our most popular product. So they've got air tubes. So the signal, this is a speaker right here, that sound travels to your head, and there's absolutely no electrical signal going into your brain. And they are wired, just like in your house. If you have Ethernet instead of Wi-Fi, that is completely reducing, it's taking out the Wi-Fi out of the equation. And I know not most people's houses aren't wired for Ethernet, but I'm just making a comparison. A plugged in thing is always better than a wireless thing. So yeah, it's really like, that's our most popular product. So I think people are maybe realizing like, and a lot of people don't feel well with their AirPods too, or their Bluetooth earbud things, because they get headaches and they feel foggy, and it could be why, it could be the signals. So yeah, our most popular products are the headphones and cell phone cases, but we have blankets and we have all kinds of things that make it easy that are very like universal. A blanket's great because you can be lying on the couch and have it up to here so that, when you're on your phone, like you're not getting that direct body contact with your phone or your laptop on your lap. So yeah, we have lots and lots of different products. And, aside from our products, again, I'm going to reiterate, look at your bedroom first and foremost. Don't have your Wi-Fi router in your bedroom. Try to either don't have your cell phone in your bedroom or just turn it in airplane mode. That turns off all the signals at night. And yes, you're not able to get phone calls. So if I understand some people are like, I need to have my phone on, all night, but put it away from you. Don't sleep with it under your pillow. Distance is our friend with this technology.
Yeah, for me, for example, divorced mom, when our kids aren't home, my kids aren't home, I'm like, they need to call me, or I need to be able to get that phone call. So yes, I guess you're right. Like I could probably distance it more. It's right on my nightstand, but it's only like less than a foot away from me. So maybe just moving it further away from me is better. Because right now I can't put it on airplane mode until they're adults, and then I don't have to, they're on their own.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. And when my kids when they're like not going to be home when I go to sleep, like, of course I'm going to have my phone. Like, I don't care, about that's like my main concern. But having it, like putting it something 4 feet away from you reduces like 98% of the exposure. Yeah. So it's like there's a big difference between having it 1 foot away and 4 feet away.
Yeah. So and if your kids are home, if you're in a position where your kids are home, or you don't need to have that phone call at night, like then go put it in another room and buy yourself an old fashioned alarm. Like we use it too for alarms. I know I use mine for an alarm. I set it so it's right next to my bed on my nightstand. My kids, theirs is set to their alarm. And I'm like, why don't I so that's what they're getting. It's when I'm going to be there, probably in there. I'm not going to wait for Christmas, but I was going to say, I'll throw it as a stocking stuffer. But yeah, just old fashioned alarms. We kind of take those for granted, with our cell phones now. We use it for everything. My last question for you before I ask you how people can get in touch with you and learn more about DefenderShield. Let's talk AI real quick. How are you all leveraging AI? It's not going away. Like these devices, they're not going away. AI is not going away either. So how are you all leveraging that? And how has it transformed your business at all? And if so, how has it?
We are very on the forefront of these types of things. We always have been. And currently we're using it internally for process improvement, efficiencies, we've built out some functionality in between as an online and tech company, we have so many different softwares that we use. And so it's sort of brings everything into one place to help us make business decisions and quickly get the information that might take, a couple hours to compile before, using these sorts of tools. So we use it a lot for like data analysis. Because I'll bring back up like, Chat GPT, for example, people are going to be able to shop directly from Chat GPT. And just because we have such a plethora of information on our website and we've been around for so long, we are in the perfect position to be very successful in that realm. And it's kind of interesting because, before a couple of years ago, there were companies that they just, Amazon it overtook the sales of their website. So they just became Amazon sellers. But now, full circle, that may not have been the best business decision, because now chat is going to it's going to be a lot more impactful chat versus Google, I think, for customizing solutions for people. And because we have so much data on our website already and just information, we do show up very strongly on those sorts of platforms. Still unsure about how I feel for like AI content creation. TBD on that. We're not currently like full throttle doing that. Even, there's a lot of what I'm seeing with AI is there's a lot of promises being made, and there's a lot of, it's exploding, in every marketing, every e-commerce, everything is just AI, AI, AI. But when you really get down to it, it's like, is that AI going to replace a human? No, not really, not at this point. It's going, what I'm seeing right now, it can help us currently become more efficient, which can free up time for humans to do other things. But can I say today, like I could like replace a human with an AI function? No. And I wouldn't want to.
Yeah. So how can people connect with you, Kylen, and learn more about DefenderShield?
We have our website, DefenderShield.com. We sell on Amazon as well. We have our Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and we're on Reddit as well. So just all the social media channels, just DefenderShield. And we have a very helpful customer service team. So if you reach out with any questions, they will be glad to help you understand what's going on. I encourage everyone to read Radiation Nation, or if you have kids, Henry's Tech Free Trip.
Absolutely. Get the books, and also go to the website and find Kylen. Go connect with her. Let her know you heard her here. And if you haven't gone to DefenderShield already, I don't know what you're doing, because after this conversation, you definitely need to start protecting yourself. As we're recording this, the holidays are coming. I'm not sure when it's going to drop, but no matter what timeline you're on, you should be running to the computer and going to buy something that's going to help protect you and your family. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you. Please share this with anyone you know, because everyone needs this information. I'll say share this with somebody that you think could benefit, but I think everybody can benefit from these products and from this knowledge and information, whether it's just for you, whether it's for your children, your family, your loved ones. Everybody should be aware of the dangers of EMF and what they can be doing to taking steps to protect themselves. So please share this with people that you know. And if you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, we thank you. And if you could leave a review, we'd love it. That helps us. That helps the platforms share this podcast with more people. Kylen, DefenderShield, and all the amazing guests we're having on the show. But please, if you know of somebody that could benefit from DefenderShield and hearing what Kylen shared with us today, please share this with your loved ones. I promised y'all a gift, so here it is. If you're looking to grow your visibility, and Kylen has shared with you the different ways that they are growing theirs and getting in front of sharing their message and their products with more people, and you're feeling like everything you're doing is just not working, you're trying different things and it's just not sticking, then go ahead and download our Spotlight to Scale blueprint. You can go to spotlighttoscale.com/blueprint and grab it for free. It's yours. We have all of Kylen's information and her links to the show notes, so make sure you go there, but go to defendershield.com and check it out and look for their products, so you know when you go to Amazon or when you go to order them, you know the products that they have, so you can go grab those. Kylen, before we wrap up and I let you go, first, thank you for your time today. It's a Monday when we're recording, so I appreciate you kicking off the week with us. Can you share, is there anything that you want to share that we didn't touch on or I didn't get to ask you today? I know there's so much more we could talk about because I have so many more questions, but we're out of time. So maybe we can bring you back. But is there anything that you want to share before we wrap?
No, I just want to get back to the basics with people. Time, spending less time on our devices, distance, creating distance and space between our bodies and these signals, and then shielding. So if you can keep those three things in mind, and if you aren't in the market for some shielding products, time and distance are your friends.
Oh, I love that so much. You're giving like them action steps that they can take literally right now. So first step tonight, when you go to bed, move your phone. If you can't move it out of the room, then at least move it further away from you, and go buy yourself an alarm. That's my advice. If you're do like me, go buy yourself an alarm, but go buy yourself some shielding as well. That's important. I love the device that you have, and you can hear from that as well.
Yeah, this is full headphones. It's got a mic on it, little controls, and we have 3.5 millimeter jack and a USB-C jack.
Amazing. Yeah, that's going to be for my kid because my daughter is stuck with her AirPods and her phone in her ears all the time, and and now I'm going to cringe when I see her have them in her ears. So,
and I understand that it's going to be hard to get teenagers to use a wired plug-in headphones. I don't have any advice for you because I haven't been there yet, but I want, when I get there,
process for me.
My 9-year-old, he's been asking for AirPods for a couple years now. And I'm like, son, that's not going to happen,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry, you're not going to be cool and have AirPods, but it's just not going to happen for you, at least not anytime soon.
Yeah. I love that. What you have. I think it's awesome. And I'll be getting them for my kids for sure. And for me. So thank you.
We also have over ear headphones for those that don't like the earbuds, but they're really good for podcasting. A lot of people use them in like meetings and stuff.
Yeah, no, I love them. I'm excited. And your case that you showed too. I really like that too. I'm not a speakerphone person, especially if I'm in public. So I have it to my ear way too much. But again, Kylen, thank you for your time. I know we're getting close to, I want to be respectful. So I'm going to let you go, but maybe we can bring you back. I'd love to dive deeper in this conversation. Maybe in a year we can revisit where you guys are at and the goals that you've achieved and see what's going on at DefenderShield. Thank you all for listening to Kylen and I. Make sure you drop her a note below, and especially if you're watching us on YouTube. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Business Growth Spotlight.